Dreams don't work unless you do. Ideas don't turn into reality unless you take action. Yet so many of us get stuck in the cycle of planning, overthinking, and waiting for the perfect moment. The truth is, there's no perfect moment. Success doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who act. This session is about breaking free from that cycle. It's about understanding that action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's about forcing yourself to take that first step, even when you don't feel ready, even when you're scared, and even when it's uncomfortable. Whether you're chasing a career goal, building a business, or striving for personal growth, the principles you'll learn here will help you overcome procrastination, silence self-doubt, and take the actions necessary to achieve your goals. If you're ready to stop waiting, to stop making excuses, and to start taking action, this lesson is for you. Let's dive into the 10 principles of forcing yourself to take action. Number 1, start before you're ready. The idea of waiting for the perfect moment to start something is a trap many of us fall into. We convince ourselves that we need more preparation, more knowledge, or more resources before we can begin. But the truth is, there's no such thing as the perfect moment. Life is unpredictable, and conditions will never be ideal. Waiting for everything to align perfectly often leads to procrastination, missed opportunities, and a lingering sense of unfulfilled potential. Instead of waiting, the key is to start before you feel ready. Taking that first step, even when you're unsure, is where real progress begins. When we delay starting, we often do so out of fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown. These fears can paralyze us, keeping us stuck in a cycle of overthinking and inaction. But here's the thing, you don't need to have all the answers before you begin. In fact, you'll never have all the answers. Clarity and confidence come from taking action, not from waiting for them to magically appear. By starting before you're ready, you give yourself permission to learn as you go, to make mistakes, and to grow through experience. Taking the first step doesn't have to be monumental. It can be small, even insignificant, in the grand scheme of things. The goal is simply to break the inertia and get moving. For example, if you want to write a book, start by writing a single paragraph. If you want to start a business, begin by researching one aspect of your idea. If you want to get fit, take a short walk or do a 5-minute workout. These small actions may seem trivial, but they create momentum. Once you've taken the first step, the next one becomes easier. Momentum builds on itself, and before you know it, you're making progress. Action also has a way of clarifying your path. When you're stuck in your head, everything feels overwhelming and uncertain. But when you start doing, you gain valuable feedback that helps you adjust and refine your approach. You learn what works and what doesn't, and you begin to see opportunities you couldn't have imagined while standing still. This process of trial and error is essential for growth. It's how you build confidence, develop skills, and move closer to your goals. Another benefit of starting before you're ready is that it shifts your mindset from perfectionism to progress. Perfectionism is often a disguised form of fear. It's the belief that if you don't do something perfectly, you'll fail or be judged. But perfection is an illusion. No one achieves it, and striving for it only leads to frustration and stagnation. When you start before you're ready, you embrace imperfection. You accept that mistakes are part of the process, and that progress, no matter how small, is what matters most. Building momentum through action also helps you overcome self-doubt. When you're stuck in the planning phase, it's easy to second-guess yourself and question whether you're capable of achieving your goals. But when you take action, you prove to yourself that you can do it. Each small step reinforces your belief in your abilities and strengthens your resolve to keep going. Over time, this creates a positive feedback loop where action fuels confidence, and confidence fuels more action. It's important to remember that starting before you're ready doesn't mean being reckless or unprepared. It's about finding a balance between planning and doing. You don't need to have everything figured out, but you should have a general sense of direction. Think of it as setting sail with a compass, rather than a detailed map. You know where you want to go, and you're willing to adjust your course as you navigate the waters. This approach allows you to be flexible and responsive to challenges and opportunities as they arise. One of the most powerful aspects of starting before you're ready is that it cultivates resilience. When you take action despite uncertainty, You develop the ability to adapt and persevere in the face of obstacles. You learn that setbacks are not the end of the road, but rather part of the journey. This resilience becomes a valuable asset as you pursue your goals, enabling you to keep moving forward, even when things get tough. Number 2, break tasks into smaller steps. Overwhelm is one of the most common barriers to taking action. When faced with a big goal or a complex project, it's easy to feel paralyzed by the sheer magnitude of what needs to be done. The thought of tackling everything at once can be so intimidating that it leads to inaction. We convince ourselves that we don't have enough time, energy, or resources to get started, so we put it off indefinitely. But the truth is, overwhelm is often a result of looking at the big picture without breaking it down into smaller, more manageable steps. By breaking tasks into smaller pieces, we can transform what feels impossible into something achievable. The human brain is wired to seek clarity and certainty. When a task feels too large or ambiguous, it triggers a stress response, making us feel anxious and unsure of where to begin. This is why breaking big goals into smaller steps is so effective. It reduces the cognitive load and creates a clear path forward. Instead of focusing on the end result, which may feel distant and unattainable, we can focus on the next small step. This shift in perspective makes the goal feel less daunting and more within reach. The process of breaking tasks into smaller steps begins with defining the big goal. What is it that you want to achieve? Whether it's starting a business, writing a book, learning a new skill, or completing a major project, the first step is to get clear on the end result. Once you have a clear goal in mind, the next step is to identify the major milestones or phases required to achieve it. These milestones act as checkpoints along the way, helping you track your progress and stay motivated. After identifying the milestones, the next step is to break them down into smaller, actionable tasks. For example, if your goal is to write a book, the milestones might include outlining the book, writing the first draft, revising the manuscript, and publishing it. Each of these milestones can then be broken down into smaller tasks. Outlining the book might involve brainstorming ideas, creating a chapter structure, and writing a brief summary for each chapter. Writing the first draft could involve setting a daily word count goal and committing to writing for a certain amount of time each day. By breaking the process down into these smaller steps, the task of writing a book becomes much more manageable. One of the key benefits of breaking tasks into smaller steps is that it creates a sense of momentum. When you complete a small task, you experience a sense of accomplishment which motivates you to keep going. This positive reinforcement builds confidence and makes it easier to tackle the next step. Over time, these small, consistent actions add up, leading to significant progress. It's like climbing a staircase. You take one step at a time, and before you know it, you've reached the top. Another advantage of breaking tasks into smaller steps is that it helps you stay focused and avoid distractions. When you have a clear plan with specific tasks to complete, it's easier to prioritize and allocate your time effectively. Instead of feeling scattered and unsure of what to do next, you can focus on the task at hand, knowing that each small step is bringing you closer to your goal. This sense of direction reduces stress and increases productivity. Small, consistent actions also have a compounding effect. Just as compound interest grows your savings over time, small actions compound to create significant results. For example, if your goal is to get fit, committing to a 10-minute workout every day may not seem like much at first, but over time those daily workouts add up, leading to improved fitness and health. Similarly, if you're learning a new skill, practicing for just 15 minutes a day can lead to mastery over time. The key is consistency. By taking small, consistent actions, you create a habit of progress that becomes self-sustaining. Breaking tasks into smaller steps also makes it easier to overcome procrastination. Procrastination often stems from feeling overwhelmed or unsure of where to start. When you have a clear plan with small, actionable steps, it's easier to get started. You don't have to tackle the entire project at once. You just have to focus on the next small task. This reduces the mental resistance that often accompanies big goals and makes it easier to take that first step. Another important aspect of breaking tasks into smaller steps is that it allows for flexibility and adaptation. Life is unpredictable, and unexpected challenges or opportunities can arise. When you have a plan with smaller steps, it's easier to adjust and pivot as needed. If you encounter an obstacle, you can reassess and modify your approach without feeling like you've derailed the entire project. This flexibility reduces the pressure and makes it easier to stay on track. The power of small, consistent actions extends beyond achieving specific goals. It also builds confidence and resilience. Each time you complete a small task, you prove to yourself that you're capable of making progress. This builds a sense of self-efficacy, which is the belief in your ability to succeed. Over time, this confidence grows, making it easier to tackle bigger challenges and take on more ambitious goals. Additionally, the habit of taking consistent action builds resilience. You learn to persevere through setbacks and keep moving forward, even when the path is difficult. It's worth noting that breaking tasks into smaller steps doesn't mean losing sight of the big picture. While it's important to focus on the small actions, it's equally important to keep the end goal in mind. Regularly revisiting your goal and reminding yourself of why it matters can help you stay motivated and aligned with your purpose. The small steps are the means to an end, and keeping the end in sight ensures that your efforts are directed towards something meaningful. So if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed by a big goal, take a step back and break it down. Identify the milestones, break them into smaller tasks, and focus on taking one small step at a time. Remember, progress doesn't have to be dramatic to be meaningful. Small, consistent actions have the power to transform your life, one step at a time. Number 3, set deadlines. Deadlines are more than just dates on a calendar. They are powerful tools that create urgency, focus, and accountability. Without deadlines, goals often remain abstract ideas, floating in the realm of someday, rather than becoming tangible realities. Deadlines force us to prioritize, make decisions, and take action. They transform vague intentions into concrete plans and provide a sense of direction. Whether you're working on a personal project, pursuing a career goal, or striving to improve a skill, setting deadlines is essential for turning aspirations into achievements. One of the primary reasons deadlines are so effective is that they create a sense of urgency. Human nature tends to prioritize immediate needs over long-term goals. Without a deadline, it's easy to procrastinate or push tasks aside, telling yourself you'll get to them later. But later often turns into never. Deadlines counteract this tendency by imposing a time constraint. They create a psychological push, reminding us that time is limited and action is required. This urgency helps break the cycle of procrastination and motivates us to get started. Deadlines also help us focus. When you have a clear timeline, it's easier to prioritize tasks and allocate your time effectively. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by all the things you need to do, you can concentrate on what needs to be done now. This focus reduces distractions and increases productivity. It's like having a roadmap. You know where you're going and how much time you have to get there, which makes it easier to stay on track. However, not all deadlines are created equal. Setting unrealistic deadlines can lead to stress, burnout, and disappointment. On the other hand, deadlines that are too lenient can lack the urgency needed to drive action. The key is to set deadlines that are both realistic and challenging. A realistic deadline takes into account your current commitments, resources, and capabilities. It allows for unexpected obstacles and gives you enough time to do quality work. At the same time, a challenging deadline pushes you out of your comfort zone and encourages you to work efficiently. To set realistic yet challenging deadlines, start by breaking your goal into smaller tasks, as discussed earlier. Estimate how much time each task will take, and then add a buffer to account for unforeseen delays. Be honest with yourself about how much you can realistically accomplish within a given time frame. At the same time, challenge yourself to stretch beyond your comfort zone. A good deadline should feel achievable, but not easy. It should require effort and focus to meet. Another important aspect of setting deadlines is aligning them with your priorities. Not all tasks are equally important, and some deadlines will naturally take precedence over others. Consider the impact of each task on your overall goal and prioritize accordingly. For example, if you're working on a project with multiple components, identify the tasks that are critical to the project's success and set earlier deadlines for those. This ensures that you're focusing your time and energy on what matters most. Once you've set your deadlines, the next step is to hold yourself accountable. Accountability is what turns a deadline from a mere suggestion into a commitment. One way to hold yourself accountable is to make your deadlines public. Share them with a friend, family member, or colleague who can check in on your progress. Knowing that someone else is aware of your deadline can provide an extra layer of motivation to follow through. Another effective accountability strategy is to track your progress regularly. Break your deadline into smaller milestones and set checkpoints along the way. For example, if your deadline is a month away, set weekly goals to ensure you're on track. Regularly reviewing your progress helps you stay focused and allows you to make adjustments if needed. It also provides a sense of accomplishment as you complete each milestone, which can boost your motivation to keep going. In addition to external accountability, it's important to cultivate internal accountability. This means taking ownership of your goals and deadlines and committing to them regardless of external pressures. One way to do this is to remind yourself of why the goal matters to you. What will achieving it mean for your life, your career, or your personal growth? Connecting your deadlines to a deeper sense of purpose can help you stay motivated and committed, even when the going gets tough. It's also worth noting that deadlines are not set in stone. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes circumstances change. If you find that a deadline is no longer realistic, it's okay to adjust it. The key is to do so intentionally and with a clear plan for moving forward. Avoid the temptation to push deadlines back repeatedly, as this can undermine your sense of accountability and lead to procrastination. Instead, reassess your timeline, make necessary adjustments, and recommit to your goal. The power of deadlines extends beyond individual tasks. They also help build discipline and resilience. Meeting deadlines requires consistent effort, focus, and problem solving. Over time, this builds a habit of discipline that can be applied to other areas of your life. Additionally, deadlines teach you to navigate challenges and setbacks. When you encounter obstacles, you learn to adapt and find solutions rather than giving up. This resilience is a valuable skill that will serve you well in all your endeavors. Another benefit of setting deadlines is that they provide a sense of closure. Without a deadline, tasks can drag on indefinitely, leaving you feeling stuck or incomplete. Deadlines create a clear endpoint, allowing you to celebrate your achievements and move on to the next challenge. This sense of closure is important for maintaining momentum and staying motivated over the long term. Number 4, eliminate distractions. Distractions are one of the greatest barriers to productivity and progress. In a world filled with constant notifications, endless to-do lists, and a never-ending stream of information, staying focused has become increasingly challenging. Distractions not only eat away at your time, but also fragment your attention, making it difficult to think deeply or work efficiently. Every time you're pulled away from a task, it takes time to regain your focus and momentum. Over time, these interruptions add up, sabotaging your ability to achieve your goals. To make meaningful progress, it's essential to eliminate distractions and create an environment that supports focus. The first step in eliminating distractions is understanding what they are and how they affect you. Distractions come in many forms: external, like phone notifications, noisy environments, or interruptions from others, and internal, like wandering thoughts, stress, or lack of motivation. Both types can derail your focus, but they require different strategies to address. External distractions are often easier to identify and control, while internal distractions can be more subtle and persistent. By becoming aware of your specific distractions, you can take targeted steps to minimize their impact. Creating an environment that supports focus is crucial for eliminating distractions. Your surroundings play a significant role in shaping your ability to concentrate. A cluttered workspace, for example, can make it harder to focus by creating visual noise and mental overwhelm. Similarly, a noisy or chaotic environment can pull your attention away from the task at hand. To create a focused environment, start by organizing your physical space. Keep your workspace clean and free of unnecessary items. Use tools like storage bins, folders, or digital organizers to keep everything in its place. A tidy space can help clear your mind and make it easier to concentrate. Another important aspect of your environment is minimizing digital distractions. Our devices are among the biggest sources of interruption. With constant notifications emails, and social media updates vying for our attention. To combat this, set boundaries around your technology use. Turn off non-essential notifications, or put your phone on Do Not Disturb mode during focused work sessions. Consider using apps or browser extensions that block distracting websites or limit your time on them. Designate specific times for checking emails or scrolling through social media, rather than allowing these activities to interrupt your flow throughout the day. Noise can also be a significant distraction, especially in open or shared spaces. If you're working in a noisy environment, consider using noise-canceling headphones or playing background music or white noise to drown out distractions. Some people find that instrumental music or nature sounds help them focus, while others prefer complete silence. Experiment to find what works best for you. If possible, choose a quiet, dedicated workspace where you can minimize interruptions and create a sense of routine. In addition to optimizing your physical and digital environment, it's important to address internal distractions. These often stem from a lack of clarity, stress, or competing priorities. When your mind is cluttered with worries or to-dos, it's hard to focus on the task at hand. One effective way to combat internal distractions is to practice mindfulness or meditation. These practices help train your brain to stay present and reduce the tendency to get caught up in wandering thoughts. Even a few minutes of deep breathing or mindfulness exercises can help clear your mind and improve your focus. Another strategy for managing internal distractions is to break tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. When a task feels overwhelming, it's easy to get distracted by the urge to procrastinate or switch to something easier. By breaking the task into smaller pieces, you can reduce the mental resistance and make it easier to get started. Additionally, setting clear goals and priorities for each work session can help you stay focused. Before you begin, take a moment to define what you want to accomplish and how you'll measure success. This clarity can help you stay on track and resist the pull of distractions. Time management techniques can also be powerful tools for eliminating distractions. One popular method is the Pomodoro technique, which involves working in focused intervals, typically 25 minutes, followed by short breaks. This approach helps you maintain focus by creating a sense of urgency and providing regular opportunities to rest and recharge. Another effective strategy is time blocking, where you schedule specific blocks of time for different tasks or activities. By dedicating focused time to your most important tasks, you can reduce the temptation to multitask or get sidetracked by less important activities. It's also important to set boundaries with others to minimize interruptions. If you work in a shared space or have family members at home, communicate your need for focused work time, let them know when you'll be unavailable, and ask for their support in minimizing interruptions. If possible, establish a visual signal, like closing your door or wearing headphones, to indicate that you're in a focused work session. Setting these boundaries can help create a culture of respect for your time and attention. Another practical tip for staying on track is to manage your energy levels. Focus requires mental energy, and if you're tired or drained, it's much harder to resist distractions. Prioritize getting enough sleep, eating nutritious meals, and taking regular breaks to recharge. Pay attention to your natural energy rhythms, and schedule your most demanding tasks for times when you're most alert and focused. By aligning your work with your energy levels, you can maximize your productivity and minimize the impact of distractions. Finally, it's important to cultivate a mindset of focus and intentionality. Distractions often arise because we allow ourselves to be pulled in multiple directions without a clear sense of purpose. By approaching your work with intention and a commitment to staying focused, you can reduce the likelihood of getting sidetracked. Remind yourself of the importance of your goals and the value of your time. When you're tempted to give in to a distraction, pause and ask yourself whether it aligns with your priorities. This moment of reflection can help you stay on track and make choices that support your progress. Number 5. Use the 5-second rule. Hesitation is the silent killer of progress. It's that moment of doubt, that split-second pause, where you second-guess yourself and talk yourself out of taking action. Whether it's starting a new project, making a difficult phone call, or simply getting out of bed in the morning, hesitation often leads to procrastination. It's the gap between intention and action, and it's where countless opportunities are lost. The antidote to hesitation is the 5-second rule. a simple yet powerful tool that helps you take immediate action before your brain has a chance to overthink. By using this rule, you can break the cycle of procrastination and build a habit of acting decisively. The 5-second rule, popularized by Mel Robbins, is based on the idea that you have a 5-second window to act on an instinct or decision before your brain starts to rationalize, doubt, or hesitate. When you feel the urge to do something, whether it's something small like getting up to exercise or something significant like pitching a new idea, you count down from 5 and take action as soon as you reach 1. This countdown interrupts your brain's default mode of overthinking and creates a sense of urgency that propels you into action. It's a way of outsmarting your own mind and bypassing the mental barriers that hold you back. Why does this work? Our brains are wired to protect us from discomfort and uncertainty. When faced with a decision or task that feels challenging or unfamiliar, the brain instinctively looks for reasons to avoid it. It might tell you that you're not ready, that you'll fail, or that it's better to wait for the right moment. This is where hesitation creeps in. And if you don't act quickly, it can quickly turn into procrastination. The 5-second rule disrupts this pattern by forcing you to act before your brain has a chance to talk you out of it. It's a way of taking control of your impulses and making decisions with your values and goals in mind, rather than your fears. Using the 5-second rule is simple, but it requires practice and consistency. Start by paying attention to moments when you feel the urge to act but hesitate. It could be something as small as wanting to speak up in a meeting, or as significant as deciding to start a new business. When you notice that hesitation, immediately count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As soon as you reach 1, take action. Don't wait, don't think, just move. The key is to act quickly, before your brain has a chance to overanalyze or come up with excuses. One of the most powerful aspects of the 5-second rule is that it can be applied to almost any situation. It's not just for big, life-changing decisions. It's also for the small, everyday choices that add up over time. For example, if you're tempted to hit the snooze button in the morning, count down from 5 and get out of bed as soon as you reach 1. If you're procrastinating on a task, count down and start working on it immediately. If you're nervous about having a difficult conversation, count down and initiate it before you can talk yourself out of it. The rule works because it's universal. It's a tool for taking action no matter what the action is. Over time, using the 5-second rule helps you build a habit of acting without overthinking. It trains your brain to associate the countdown with action, making it easier to take the first step, even when you're unsure or uncomfortable. This habit of decisiveness can have a profound impact on your life. It helps you overcome procrastination, build confidence, and create momentum. Each time you use the rule, you reinforce the idea that you're someone who takes action, and this self-perception becomes a powerful driver of future behavior. Another benefit of the 5-second rule is that it helps you break free from the paralysis of perfectionism. Many people hesitate because they're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect level of confidence. But perfection is an illusion, and waiting for it only leads to missed opportunities. The 5-second rule forces you to act in spite of imperfection. It reminds you that taking imperfect action is better than taking no action at all. By embracing this mindset, you can move forward even when conditions aren't ideal, and you'll often find that progress itself creates the clarity and confidence you were waiting for. The 5-second rule also helps you build resilience and courage. Taking action, especially when it feels uncomfortable or risky, requires courage. Each time you use the rule, you're practicing that courage and strengthening your ability to face challenges head-on. Over time, this builds resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and keep moving forward. You learn that hesitation and fear are natural, but they don't have to control you. You can acknowledge them and still take action. And this mindset shift is incredibly empowering. To make the most of the 5-second rule, it's important to pair it with a clear sense of purpose. Why are you taking this action? What's the bigger goal or value behind it? When you connect the rule to something meaningful, it becomes more than just a trick. It becomes a tool for living intentionally. For example, if you're using the rule to get up early and exercise, remind yourself that you're doing it to improve your health and energy. If you're using it to speak up in a meeting, remind yourself that your ideas matter and deserve to be heard. This sense of purpose gives the rule deeper significance and makes it easier to commit to using it consistently. It's also worth noting that the 5-second rule isn't a magic solution. It's a tool that requires effort and practice. There will be times when you hesitate, when you count down and still don't act. That's okay. The key is to keep practicing and to use the rule as often as possible. Over time, it will become a natural part of your decision-making process, and you'll find it easier to take action without overthinking. Number 6, visualize the outcome. Visualization is a powerful tool that taps into the mind's ability to shape reality. It's more than just daydreaming or wishful thinking. It's a deliberate practice of creating a clear mental picture of your desired outcome. When you visualize success, you activate the same neural pathways in your brain as you would if you were actually experiencing it. This process not only fuels motivation, but also helps you build confidence, overcome fear, and stay focused on your goals. By regularly visualizing the outcome you want, you can align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your vision, making it more likely to become a reality. One of the reasons visualization is so effective is that it bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. When you have a clear mental picture of your success, it becomes easier to see the steps needed to get there. This clarity reduces overwhelm and provides a sense of direction. Visualization also taps into the emotional power of your goals. When you imagine yourself achieving something, you experience the feelings associated with that success: pride, joy, satisfaction. These emotions are incredibly motivating. They remind you why you're working toward your goal and help you push through challenges when the going gets tough. To create a clear mental picture of your success, start by defining your desired outcome in as much detail as possible. What does success look like for you? Close your eyes and imagine it vividly. If your goal is to give a successful presentation, picture yourself standing confidently in front of the room, delivering your points with clarity and poise. Imagine the audience nodding in agreement, the feeling of satisfaction as you conclude, and the applause that follows. If your goal is to run a marathon, visualize yourself crossing the finish line, feeling strong and accomplished. Picture the crowd cheering, the medal around your neck, and the sense of pride in your achievement. The more detailed your visualization, the more real it will feel. Engaging all your senses in the visualization process can make it even more powerful. What do you see, hear, feel, and even smell in your imagined scenario? If you're visualizing a successful business launch, imagine the buzz of the event, the handshakes and congratulations, the taste of celebratory champagne. By incorporating sensory details, you make the experience more immersive and emotionally compelling. This deepens your connection to the outcome and strengthens your motivation to achieve it. Visualization is also a powerful tool for overcoming fear and doubt. Fear often stems from uncertainty, the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, or the fear of not being good enough. When you visualize success, you replace that uncertainty with a sense of possibility. You see yourself succeeding, which helps quiet the voice of doubt in your mind. For example, if you're nervous about an important meeting, visualizing a positive outcome can help calm your nerves. Imagine yourself speaking confidently, answering questions with ease, and leaving the meeting with a sense of accomplishment. This mental rehearsal prepares your brain for success and reduces anxiety. Another way visualization helps overcome fear is by normalizing the experience. When you repeatedly imagine yourself succeeding, it becomes familiar. Your brain starts to recognize the scenario as something you've already experienced, which reduces the fear of the unknown. This is why athletes often use visualization as part of their training. By mentally rehearsing their performance, they build confidence and reduce the pressure of the actual event. You can apply the same principle to your own goals. Whether it's a big presentation, a difficult conversation, or a new challenge, visualizing success can help you approach it with confidence and calm. Visualization also helps you stay focused on your goals, especially when faced with distractions or setbacks. When you have a clear mental picture of your desired outcome, it serves as a constant reminder of what you're working toward. This makes it easier to prioritize your time and energy and resist the pull of distractions. For example, if you're working on a long-term project and feeling discouraged, visualizing the end result can reignite your motivation. Picture the impact your work will have, the recognition you'll receive, or the personal satisfaction you'll feel. This reminder of the bigger picture can help you stay committed and push through challenges. To make visualization a regular practice, set aside time each day to focus on your mental imagery. This could be in the morning as part of your routine, during a break in your day, or before bed. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Close your eyes and spend a few minutes immersing yourself in your vision. You can also combine visualization with other practices, such as journaling or affirmations, to reinforce your goals. For example, after visualizing your success, write down how it felt and what steps you'll take to make it a reality. This combination of mental and physical engagement strengthens your commitment and keeps you aligned with your vision. It's important to note that visualization alone isn't enough. It must be paired with action. Visualization primes your mind for success, but it's your actions that bring that success to life. Use your mental imagery as a source of inspiration and motivation, but don't rely on it as a substitute for effort. Break your goals into actionable steps and take consistent action toward them. Visualization can help you stay focused and motivated along the way, but it's the combination of mental preparation and physical effort that leads to real results. Another key aspect of effective visualization is maintaining a positive mindset. When you visualize, focus on what you want to achieve, not what you want to avoid. For example, instead of imagining yourself not failing, imagine yourself succeeding. This shift in focus helps you cultivate a mindset of possibility and abundance, rather than fear and scarcity. It also reinforces the belief that you're capable of achieving your goals, which builds confidence and resilience. Finally, be patient with the process. Visualization is a skill that improves with practice. At first, it may feel awkward or difficult to create a clear mental picture, but over time it will become more natural and impactful. The more you practice, the more you'll notice its effects on your motivation, confidence, and focus. And as you start to see progress toward your goals, your belief in the power of visualization will grow, creating a positive feedback loop that fuels further success. Number 7, embrace imperfection. Imperfectionism is often seen as a virtue, a sign of high standards, and a commitment to excellence. But in reality, it's one of the greatest barriers to progress. Perfectionism paralyzes. It convinces you that unless everything is just right, you shouldn't even start. It whispers that mistakes are unacceptable, that anything less than flawless is a failure. This mindset creates a fear of taking action, leading to procrastination, self-doubt, and missed opportunities. To truly move forward, you must embrace imperfection. You must learn to take action, even when it's not perfect, and focus on progress rather than an unattainable ideal. The root of perfectionism lies in the fear of judgment, both from others and from yourself. Perfectionists often tie their self-worth to their achievements, believing that their value depends on being flawless. This creates immense pressure to get everything right, which can be paralyzing. The fear of making a mistake or falling short becomes so overwhelming that it's easier to avoid taking action altogether. But here's the truth: perfection is an illusion. No one achieves it, and striving for it only leads to frustration and stagnation. Progress, on the other hand, is real and attainable. It's about moving forward, learning and improving, even if the steps are small and imperfect. To overcome perfectionism, the first step is to shift your mindset. Instead of viewing mistakes as failures, see them as opportunities for growth. Every misstep is a chance to learn, to refine your approach, and to become better. This doesn't mean you should aim for mediocrity or stop caring about quality. It means recognizing that excellence is a journey, not a destination. It's about doing your best with the resources and knowledge you have at the time, and being willing to adapt and improve as you go. Taking action, even when it's not perfect, requires courage. It means stepping into the unknown and being okay with uncertainty. It means accepting that you might stumble, that your first attempt might not be your best, and that's okay. The key is to start. Write that first draft, even if it's messy. Launch that project, even if it's not fully polished. Have that difficult conversation, even if you're not sure how it will go. Action creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Each step you take, no matter how small or imperfect, brings you closer to your goal. One of the most effective ways to embrace imperfection is to adopt a done is better than perfect mentality. This mindset prioritizes completion over flawlessness. It recognizes that taking action and finishing something is more valuable than endlessly tweaking and refining. For example, if you're working on a report, set a deadline for when you'll complete it, even if it's not perfect. If you're learning a new skill, focus on practicing regularly rather than waiting until you feel ready to perform flawlessly. By shifting your focus from perfection to completion, you free yourself from the paralysis of perfectionism and make meaningful progress. Another strategy for embracing imperfection is to set realistic expectations. Perfectionists often set impossibly high standards for themselves, which sets them up for disappointment. Instead, aim for good enough. This doesn't mean settling for less than you're capable of. It means recognizing that good enough is often sufficient to move forward. For example, if you're preparing for a presentation, aim to deliver it with clarity and confidence, rather than obsessing over every word and slide. If you're starting a new project, focus on creating a solid foundation rather than trying to perfect every detail. By setting realistic expectations, you reduce the pressure and make it easier to take action. It's also important to celebrate progress. No matter how small, perfectionists often overlook their achievements because they're too focused on what's not perfect. But progress is worth celebrating. Each step forward, no matter how imperfect, is a victory. Take time to acknowledge your efforts and the progress you've made. Did you start that project you've been putting off? Celebrate it. Did you have a difficult conversation you've been avoiding? Celebrate it. Did you take a small step toward your goal? Even if it wasn't perfect, celebrate it. Recognizing your progress reinforces the idea that action is valuable, even when it's not flawless. Another powerful way to embrace imperfection is to practice self-compassion. Perfectionists are often their own harshest critics, holding themselves to impossible standards and berating themselves for every mistake. But self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. When you make a mistake or fall short of your expectations, remind yourself that you're human and that imperfection is part of the process. Instead of criticizing yourself, focus on what you can learn from the experience and how you can improve. Self-compassion helps you let go of the need for perfection and creates a healthier, more supportive mindset. Focusing on progress rather than perfection also means being willing to iterate and improve. Perfectionists often want to get everything right the first time, but this is rarely possible. Most achievements are the result of trial and error, of trying, learning, and trying again. Embrace the idea of iteration. Your first attempt doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a starting point. From there you can refine and improve. For example, if you're writing a book, your first draft doesn't have to be flawless. It just has to exist. Once you have a draft, you can revise and polish it. By focusing on progress and iteration, you make it easier to take action and keep moving forward. Another important aspect of embracing imperfection is letting go of the need for external validation. Perfectionists often seek approval from others, believing that their worth depends on meeting others' expectations. But this external focus can be paralyzing. Instead, focus on your own values and goals. Why are you pursuing this goal? What does success mean to you? By aligning your actions with your own sense of purpose, you reduce the pressure to be perfect and create a more authentic, fulfilling path forward. Finally, remember that imperfection is what makes us human. It's what makes life interesting, creative, and real. Some of the most beautiful and meaningful achievements come from taking risks, making mistakes, and learning along the way. By embracing imperfection, you open yourself up to new possibilities and experiences. You give yourself permission to take action, to experiment, and to grow. And in doing so, you create a life that's not about being perfect, but about being fully alive. Number 8, build a routine. Structure is the backbone of progress. Without it, even the most ambitious goals can feel overwhelming and out of reach. A well-designed routine provides the framework that supports consistent action, helping you stay focused, motivated, and on track. It eliminates the need to constantly decide what to do next, freeing up mental energy for the tasks that matter most. Building a routine isn't about rigidly controlling every moment of your day. It's about creating a rhythm that aligns with your goals and values, while leaving room for flexibility and spontaneity. When you have a routine in place, you're more likely to take action, even on days when motivation is low. The first step in building a routine is understanding why structure matters. Our brains thrive on predictability. When we know what to expect, we can operate more efficiently and with less stress. A routine reduces decision fatigue, the mental exhaustion that comes from making too many choices throughout the day. By automating certain habits and activities, you conserve mental energy for the tasks that require creativity and focus. Structure also creates a sense of stability, which is especially important during times of uncertainty or change. When the world feels chaotic, a routine can provide a sense of control and normalcy. To create a daily routine that keeps you moving forward, start by identifying your priorities. What are the most important tasks or activities that align with your goals? These might include work-related tasks, personal projects, exercise, or time with loved ones. Once you've identified your priorities, allocate specific times in your day to focus on them. For example, if writing is a priority, schedule a block of time each morning when you're most alert and creative. If exercise is important, choose a time that fits naturally into your day, whether it's first thing in the morning, during lunch, or in the evening. It's also important to consider your natural rhythms and energy levels when designing your routine. Some people are morning people, bursting with energy and focus early in the day. Others are night owls, hitting their stride in the evening. Pay attention to when you feel most productive and schedule your most demanding tasks during those times. For example, if you're a morning person, use that time for deep work or creative projects. If you're more alert in the afternoon, save your most challenging tasks for then. By aligning your routine with your natural energy patterns, you can maximize your productivity and make the most of your day. Another key aspect of building a routine is balancing productivity with rest and recovery. It's easy to fall into the trap of overloading your schedule with tasks and activities, leaving little time for rest. But rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Without adequate rest, your productivity, creativity, and overall well-being will suffer. Incorporate regular breaks into your routine to recharge and prevent burnout. For example, use the Pomodoro technique, which involves working in focused intervals, typically 25 minutes followed by short breaks. This approach helps you maintain focus while giving your brain time to rest. In addition to short breaks, make sure to schedule longer periods of rest and recovery. This might include time for hobbies, relaxation, or simply doing nothing. Rest is not just about physical recovery. It's also about mental and emotional renewal. When you give yourself permission to rest, you return to your tasks with renewed energy and focus. Remember, a routine that doesn't include rest is unsustainable. It's about finding a balance between action and recovery, so you can perform at your best over the long term. Flexibility is another important element of a successful routine. While structure is important, it's equally important to leave room for spontaneity and adaptation. Life is unpredictable, and rigid routines can quickly become frustrating when things don't go as planned. Build flexibility into your routine by allowing buffer time between tasks or activities. This gives you the freedom to adapt to unexpected changes without derailing your entire day. For example, if a meeting runs over or you need more time to complete a task, having buffer time ensures that your routine can adjust without causing stress. Another way to build flexibility is to prioritize your tasks. Not everything on your to-do list is equally important. Identify the tasks that are most critical to your goals and focus on completing those first. This ensures that even if your day doesn't go as planned, you've still made progress on what matters most. By prioritizing, you create a routine that's both structured and adaptable, allowing you to stay focused while navigating the inevitable ups and downs of life. Consistency is key to making your routine stick. It's not enough to create a routine. You need to follow through with it, day after day. Consistency builds momentum and turns your routine into a habit. Over time, the actions you take become automatic, requiring less effort and willpower. To stay consistent, start small. Focus on building 1 or 2 habits at a time, rather than trying to overhaul your entire routine at once. For example, if you want to start exercising regularly, begin with a short workout a few times a week and gradually increase the frequency and intensity. By starting small, you make it easier to stay consistent and build momentum. Tracking your progress can also help you stay consistent. Use a journal, planner, or app to record your daily activities and reflect on your progress. This not only helps you stay accountable, but also provides a sense of accomplishment as you see your routine take shape. Celebrate your successes, no matter how small, and use them as motivation to keep going. If you miss a day or fall off track, don't be too hard on yourself. Instead, focus on getting back on track and continuing to move forward. Finally, remember that a routine is a tool, not a prison. It's meant to support you, not control you. If your routine isn't working, don't be afraid to adjust it. Experiment with different schedules, habits, and activities until you find what works best for you. Your routine should evolve as your goals, priorities, and circumstances change. The goal is to create a routine that helps you take consistent action while also allowing for rest, flexibility, and spontaneity. Number 9, surround yourself with action takers. Your environment plays a powerful role in shaping your behavior, habits, and mindset. The people you surround yourself with can either lift you up or hold you back. When you're surrounded by action takers, people who are driven, motivated, and committed to their goals, you're more likely to adopt those same qualities. Their energy, focus, and determination can inspire you to take action, push through challenges, and stay accountable to your own goals. On the other hand, being around people who procrastinate, complain, or resist change can drain your motivation and reinforce negative habits. To create an environment that supports your growth, it's essential to surround yourself with action takers who inspire and motivate you. The first step in building a network of action takers is understanding why your environment matters. Human beings are inherently social creatures, and we're deeply influenced by the people around us. This phenomenon, known as social contagion, means that the attitudes, behaviors, and habits of those in your circle can rub off on you. If you're surrounded by people who take consistent action toward their goals, you're more likely to do the same. Conversely, if you're surrounded by people who avoid responsibility or make excuses, it's easy to fall into those patterns yourself. By intentionally choosing who you spend time with, you can create an environment that supports your growth and success. To connect with action takers, start by identifying the qualities you admire in others. What kind of people inspire you? Who do you look up to for their drive, discipline, or creativity? These might be colleagues, mentors, friends, or even public figures whose work you admire. Once you've identified these qualities, seek out opportunities to connect with people who embody them. This might involve joining professional organizations, attending networking events, or participating in online communities related to your interests. Look for people who are actively pursuing their goals and who radiate positivity and determination. Building relationships with action takers requires effort and intentionality. It's not enough to simply be in the same room as motivated people. You need to engage with them, learn from them, and contribute to the relationship. Start by showing genuine interest in their work and goals. Ask questions, listen actively, and offer support where you can. Share your own goals and aspirations, and be open to feedback and advice. By fostering meaningful connections, you create a mutually supportive network where everyone benefits from each other's energy and insights. One of the most powerful ways to surround yourself with action takers is to join or create a mastermind group. A mastermind group is a small, focused community of like-minded individuals who come together to support each other's goals. These groups typically meet regularly to share progress, discuss challenges, and hold each other accountable. Being part of a mastermind group provides a structured way to connect with action takers and stay motivated. It also creates a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose, which can be incredibly motivating. If you can't find a mastermind group that fits your needs, consider starting your own. Invite people who inspire you and who are committed to taking action, and establish a regular meeting schedule to keep everyone on track. Another way to connect with action takers is to seek out mentors and role models. Mentors are individuals who have achieved success in areas you're interested in and who are willing to share their knowledge and experience. A good mentor can provide guidance, encouragement, and accountability, helping you stay focused on your goals. To find a mentor, Look for people whose work you admire and who align with your values. Reach out to them with a clear and respectful request for mentorship, and be prepared to show gratitude and commitment. Even if a formal mentorship isn't possible, you can still learn from role models by studying their work, following their advice, and emulating their habits. In addition to connecting with action takers, it's important to minimize your exposure to people who drain your energy or discourage you from taking action. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life entirely, but it does mean setting boundaries and being mindful of how their behavior affects you. If someone consistently complains, makes excuses, or undermines your goals, limit the time you spend with them, or redirect the conversation to more positive topics. Surrounding yourself with action takers doesn't mean avoiding all negativity. It means creating a balance where the positive influences in your life outweigh the negative ones. Building a network of action takers also involves being an action taker yourself. People are naturally drawn to those who are motivated, focused, and committed to their goals. By taking consistent action toward your own goals, you'll attract like-minded individuals who share your drive and determination. Be proactive in sharing your progress, celebrating your successes, and supporting others in their efforts. When you demonstrate a commitment to action, you become a source of inspiration and motivation for those around you. Another important aspect of surrounding yourself with action takers is creating a physical environment that supports your goals. Your surroundings can have a significant impact on your mindset and behavior. If your workspace is cluttered, disorganized, or filled with distractions, it's harder to stay focused and motivated. On the other hand, a clean, organized, and inspiring environment can boost your productivity and creativity. Consider how you can design your space to reflect the qualities of action takers. This might involve adding motivational quotes, creating a vision board, or keeping your workspace free of distractions. By aligning your physical environment with your goals, you create a space that supports action and progress. Finally, remember that building a network of action takers is an ongoing process. Relationships take time to develop, and it's important to nurture them over time. Stay in touch with the people who inspire you, and look for ways to add value to their lives. Share resources, offer encouragement, and celebrate their successes. By investing in these relationships, you create a strong and supportive network that helps everyone achieve their goals. Number 10, celebrate small wins. Celebrating small wins is a powerful, yet often overlooked strategy for maintaining motivation and building momentum. In the pursuit of big goals, it's easy to become fixated on the end result, overlooking the incremental progress that gets you there. But progress, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. Acknowledging your small wins reinforces positive behavior, boosts your confidence, and keeps you motivated to keep going. It's a way of recognizing that every step forward, no matter how tiny, is a step in the right direction. By tracking and celebrating these victories, you create a positive feedback loop that fuels your drive and helps you stay committed to your goals. The first step in celebrating small wins is understanding why they matter. Big goals can feel overwhelming, especially when the finish line seems far away. Focusing solely on the end result can lead to frustration and burnout, as it's easy to feel like you're not making progress. Small wins, on the other hand, provide immediate feedback and a sense of accomplishment. They remind you that you're moving forward, even if the steps are small. This sense of progress is incredibly motivating. It reinforces the belief that your efforts are paying off and that you're capable of achieving your goals. Celebrating small wins also helps you stay present and enjoy the journey, rather than constantly fixating on the destination. To start celebrating small wins, you first need to track them. This involves setting clear, measurable milestones that mark your progress toward your larger goal. For example, if your goal is to write a book, your milestones might include completing the outline, finishing the first chapter, or writing a certain number of words each day. If your goal is to get fit, your milestones might include working out 3 times a week, running a mile without stopping, or losing a specific amount of weight. By breaking your goal into smaller, measurable steps, you create opportunities to celebrate progress along the way. Tracking your progress also helps you stay focused and accountable. It provides a clear picture of how far you've come and what still needs to be done. There are many ways to track your progress. from journaling and using apps, to creating visual charts or checklists. Choose a method that works best for you, and make it a regular part of your routine. For example, you might start each day by reviewing your progress and setting a small, achievable goal for the day. At the end of the day, take a few minutes to reflect on what you accomplished and celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Once you've identified and tracked your small wins, the next step is to celebrate them. Celebration doesn't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. It's about acknowledging your progress and giving yourself credit for your efforts. This might involve taking a moment to reflect on what you've achieved, sharing your success with a friend or loved one, or treating yourself to something you enjoy. For example, if you've completed a challenging task, you might reward yourself with a favorite snack, a short break, or an episode of your favorite show. The key is to make the celebration meaningful and enjoyable, so it reinforces the positive behavior and motivates you to keep going. Celebrating small wins also helps you build momentum. Each win, no matter how small, creates a sense of accomplishment and boosts your confidence. This positive energy carries over into your next task, making it easier to take action and keep moving forward. Over time, these small wins add up, creating a snowball effect that propels you toward your larger goal. For example, if your goal is to run a marathon, celebrating each small victory, like running an extra mile or improving your pace, helps you stay motivated and builds the confidence you need to tackle longer distances. By focusing on the small wins, you create a sense of momentum that makes it easier to stay committed and overcome challenges. Another benefit of celebrating small wins is that it helps you stay resilient in the face of setbacks. Big goals often come with obstacles and challenges, and it's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned. But when you've been celebrating small wins along the way, you have a reservoir of positive experiences to draw from. These wins remind you of your progress and your ability to overcome challenges. They provide a sense of perspective, helping you see setbacks as temporary rather than insurmountable. For example, if you miss a workout or fall short of a milestone, reflecting on your previous wins can help you stay motivated and get back on track. Celebrating small wins also fosters a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. When you celebrate small wins, you reinforce the idea that progress is possible and that your efforts are making a difference. This mindset encourages you to embrace challenges, learn from mistakes, and keep pushing forward. For example, if you're learning a new skill and celebrate each small improvement, you're more likely to stay motivated and continue practicing, even when the going gets tough. By focusing on progress rather than perfection, you create a mindset that supports long-term growth and success. To make celebrating small wins a regular part of your routine, it's important to be intentional about it. Set aside time each day or week to reflect on your progress and acknowledge your wins. This might involve journaling, sharing your successes with a friend, or simply taking a moment to appreciate your efforts. You can also create rituals or traditions around celebrating your wins, like lighting a candle, doing a happy dance, or writing down your achievements in a special notebook. The key is to make the celebration meaningful and enjoyable, so it reinforces the positive behavior and motivates you to keep going. It's also important to share your wins with others. Celebrating with friends, family, or a supportive community can amplify the positive effects of your achievements. Sharing your wins not only reinforces your progress, but also creates a sense of connection and support. It allows others to celebrate with you and provides an opportunity for encouragement and accountability. For example, if you're part of a mastermind group or accountability partnership, sharing your wins can inspire others and create a culture of celebration and support. Finally, remember that celebrating small wins is not about lowering your standards or settling for less. It's about recognizing and appreciating the progress you're making, no matter how small. By celebrating your wins, you create a positive feedback loop that fuels your motivation and keeps you moving forward. It's a way of staying focused on the journey, rather than just the destination, and finding joy in the process of growth and achievement. Taking action isn't about waiting for the right moment. It's about creating the right moment. It's about forcing yourself to start, even when you're scared, even when you're unsure, and even when it's uncomfortable. The principles you've learned in this video are your roadmap to doing just that. They're not just ideas, they're practices that, when applied consistently, will transform your mindset, your habits, and your life. Remember, success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who act. Start today. Take one step, one action, one small win at a time. Force yourself to take action and watch as your life transforms. The future is yours to create. Don't wait for someone else to do it for you.